Hi, folks. Welcome back. So, I've been using agents as essentially personal chiefs of staff for a while now, for not just coding, but doing errands for me in my daily personal life admin, all that kind of stuff. And through that time, I've noticed this big tension between agents that run locally on my machine versus agents that run in the cloud. And I wrote a blog post about this. I'll leave a link to that down below. But I want to talk about that just a little bit. So, the big advantage that local agents give is that they see all the files and the state and the credentials that I have on my local machine. And that is really powerful. I am not a huge fan of this notion of running an agent out of a single Git repo. That's totally fine for coding, but for personal life admin, general purpose tasks, I think that's severely limiting. So, what are the advantages of running local agents? Like I said, the first one is that it sees everything that's on my machine. So this is not just Git repos, it is all the random files in my downloads folder, all the other files I have about miscellaneous things, finances that are not in Git repos. It has access to all my CLI tools into which I am authenticated. So I run most of my projects on Google Cloud, and I have a G Cloud CLI tool into which I'm authenticated. So the agent can do that. Same thing with the GitHub CLI or various other CLI tools. It has access to all that. Then, because all these local agents like Claude Code or Codex, they have pretty decent computer use and browser use now, they can run and do things inside my signed in Chrome profile. And I'm signed into all my usual sites in there. So they can really do a lot of stuff for me. For example, I recently used it to order a large order for an event, a large food order for an event on Uber Eats, which would have taken me more than an hour to do. And all that was possible because Codex can use Chrome, and in Chrome, I'm signed into Uber Eats, so stuff like that. So, number one, access to all my files. Number two, computer use locally with all my credentials. And number three, and this is, I think, a very compelling advantage too, is that the agent can build up a lot of state as it works and does stuff for me in terms of what it did previously, what worked, what didn't work. And this state is really helpful. Over time, this means this memory, this state, it means this agent learns more and more about me. And sure, you can have some of that state online as well, but it's just not as powerful. So, for example, I've talked about this in other videos. I have a home/agents folder explicitly for memories and skills and all this state. A simple example of where state comes in very helpful is I have a periodic loop that runs every day that prepares a morning news brief for me based on all the topics it knows I'm interested in. Now, one thing you want in such a news brief is to not repeat stories that have already been surfaced in previous news briefs. And so, how does it do that? It looks at the news briefs from the last few days and doesn't resurface the stories that were already in there. So that's a very simple example of how state and history really helps agents deliver more targeted, better, non-repetitive stuff. And that sort of stuff happens in many use cases, not just news briefs. The distinction I want to draw is between all these personal chief of staff kind of use cases versus more corporate enterprise coding centric use cases. And for those kinds of things, I really do think cloud agents work better. If you're a programmer and you're just coding in one Git repo, a cloud agent makes a lot of sense. You can just fire off an agent and you don't have to keep your laptop running. And that is the big downside of local agents. So I talked about all the upsides, but the biggest downside is that I have to treat my laptop essentially as an always on server that needs to be connected to power and Wi-Fi. So if I'm out traveling or my laptop is off or something, then none of this works. By the way, I forgot to say, one recent big feature that really made this click and work was that all the major agents, Codex, Claude Code, they all have really nice remote control, which means even though the agents are running on your laptop, you can view them and control them from their mobile apps. So you can see the progress of currently running agents. You can fire off new agents. So you can leave your laptop behind. It just needs to be online and powered up. But you can be out and about and be controlling all these agents running on your laptop from your phone. But yeah, that's the big downside, that you have to treat your laptop as this always on server, essentially. But I'm okay with that. On the whole, the advantages of having local agents run over your entire digital universe, over your entire machine, those advantages are just so compelling that I'm fine with it being tethered to this one machine. Anyway, I hope that gives you some food for thought as you set up your own personal agent setup. I'll see you next time. Thanks.